Ever found yourself wondering why certain personality types seem to attract toxic relationships like moths to a flame? Picture this. You're an INFJ, often dubbed the rarest personality type, going about your life with your natural empathy and desire to understand others deeply. Then, almost like clockwork, you find yourself entangled with someone who seems to drain every ounce of your emotional energy. If this sounds painfully familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's not just a coincidence. Today we're going to embark on a profound journey into understanding why INFJ often become prime targets for narcissistic individuals. This isn't just another surface-level exploration. We're going to dig deep into the psychological underpinnings, the emotional dynamics, and most importantly, the path to breaking free from this cycle. Understanding the INFJ personality. A deep dive into the advocate's world. The INFJ personality type, making up less than 1% of the population, carries a unique combination of traits that make them both extraordinary and vulnerable. These individuals possess an almost mystical ability to understand the emotional undercurrents of any situation. Imagine having an emotional radar that's always on, picking up the subtlest shifts in someone's mood, the unspoken words hanging in the air, and the hidden pain behind a smile. That's the daily reality for an INFJ. INFJ are often described as old souls wrapped in modern packaging. They carry within them a profound understanding of human nature that seems to transcend their personal experiences. This isn't just about being empathetic. It's about having an intuitive grasp of human complexity that most others struggle to comprehend. They don't just see people as they are. They see the intricate web of experiences, fears, hopes, and potential that makes each person unique. These natural healers of the personality world approach relationships with an almost sacred sense of responsibility. They view connections with others not just as casual interactions, but as opportunities for mutual growth and understanding. This depth of investment in relationships, while beautiful, can sometimes become their Achilles heel. The narcissist's perfect prey. Why INFJs check every box. Now let's examine why narcissists seem to have an almost radar-like ability to spot and target INFJ. The narcissist's selection of a partner isn't random, it's calculated, even if unconsciously so. They seek individuals who possess specific traits that can fulfill their endless need for admiration, support, and emotional supply. INFJ, with their natural inclination to see the best in others and their deep capacity for emotional support, become ideal candidates for narcissistic manipulation. Think of it like this. While most people might offer a glass of water to someone thirsty, an INFJ will try to find the source of their thirst, understand their relationship with hydration, and work tirelessly to ensure they never feel thirsty again. This level of dedication and emotional investment is exactly what narcissists crave. The INFJ's ability to provide deep emotional understanding and unwavering support creates the perfect environment for a narcissist to thrive. Their natural tendency to prioritize others' needs above their own, combined with their desire to help others reach their potential, creates a dynamic where the narcissist can continuously draw emotional sustenance without fear of the well running dry, at least initially. The empathy trap. Understanding why INFJs stay in toxic relationships. Perhaps one of the most puzzling aspects of the INFJ narcissist dynamic is why these intuitive individuals, who are usually so perceptive about human nature, stay in these relationships long after red flags appear. The answer lies in the unique way INFJs process relationships and their deep-seated desire to facilitate positive change in others. The INFJ possesses an almost supernatural ability to see potential in people. They don't just see someone's present state, they see the magnificent butterfly still trapped within the chrysalis. This vision of potential becomes both a blessing and a curse. When a narcissist shows even the smallest hint of growth or moment of vulnerability, it feeds directly into the INFJ's hope that their faith in the person's potential wasn't misplaced. This tendency to invest in potential rather than reality creates a complex emotional trap. The INFJ becomes emotionally invested not in the person who stands before them, but in the person they believe could emerge with enough love, understanding, and support. This hope becomes a powerful anchor that keeps them tethered to toxic relationships long after others would have walked away. The door slam phenomenon. Understanding the INFJ's ultimate defense mechanism. The infamous INFJ door slam is often misunderstood as a sudden, impulsive reaction. In reality, it's more like the final act of a long and emotionally exhausting play. Before an INFJ reaches this point, they typically endure months or even years of emotional turmoil, repeatedly trying to salvage the relationship through understanding, compromise, and personal sacrifice. Think of the door slam not as slamming a physical door, but as closing an emotional chapter that has become too costly to keep open. It's important to understand that INFJ don't arrive at this decision lightly. By the time they implement the door slam, they've typically exhausted every possible avenue for resolution. They've analyzed the situation from countless angles, given multiple chances, and worked tirelessly to find solutions that could preserve the relationship. The process leading up to a door slam is particularly complex in relationships with narcissists. INFJ often struggle with the cognitive dissonance between their intuitive understanding that something is wrong and their deep desire to help and heal. They might recognize the narcissistic patterns, but convince themselves that with enough love, patience, and understanding, they can help the narcissist overcome their destructive behaviors. Recognizing the red flags. Warning signs INFJ often overlook. In the early stages of a relationship with a narcissist, INFJ often miss or minimize crucial warning signs. This isn't because they're naive or unobservant. Quite the opposite. Their complex understanding of human nature can actually work against them, causing them to rationalize concerning behaviors through a lens of compassion and understanding. Love bombing, a classic narcissistic technique, often resonates deeply with INFJ because it seems to fulfill their desire for deep, meaningful connection. When a narcissist showers them with attention, compliments, and seemingly profound understanding, it can feel like finding a kindred spirit who finally gets them. The intensity of this early connection can blind INFJ to the artificial nature of this behavior. The subtle put-downs that often follow are equally challenging for INFJ to navigate. Their natural inclination to accept criticism and strive for personal growth can make them particularly vulnerable to this form of manipulation. What starts as constructive feedback gradually evolves into a systematic undermining of their self-worth, all while the INFJ tries to understand and accommodate their partner's perspective. The emotional vampire effect. Understanding the energy drain. The relationship between an INFJ and a narcissist often resembles an emotional harvesting operation. INFJs, with their deep emotional reservoirs and natural giving nature, become unwitting suppliers of constant emotional nourishment for the narcissist's insatiable needs. This dynamic is particularly draining because INFJs don't just offer surface-level support, they invest deeply in understanding and meeting their partner's emotional needs. The process of emotional vampirism in these relationships is gradual but relentless. INFJ might initially feel energized by the opportunity to help and support someone so deeply. However, as time progresses, they begin to notice that their emotional resources are being depleted faster than they can replenish them. The narcissist's constant need for attention, validation, and emotional support begins to overwhelm even the INFJ's considerable capacity for giving. What makes this dynamic particularly insidious is the way it plays into the INFJ's natural tendencies. Their desire to understand others deeply and their commitment to personal growth can keep them engaged in this draining relationship far longer than is healthy. They might view their increasing exhaustion as a personal failure, rather than recognizing it as a natural consequence of emotional exploitation. The independence paradox, when strength becomes a threat. One of the most fascinating aspects of the INFJ narcissist dynamic is the way the INFJ's independence becomes both an attraction and a threat to the narcissist. Initially, the INFJ's self-sufficiency and rich inner life might attract the narcissist, who sees these qualities as indicators of a strong, capable partner who can meet their needs. However, these same qualities eventually become threatening to the narcissist's need for control and dominance. INFJ require significant alone time to process their experiences and recharge their emotional batteries. This need for solitude can trigger the narcissist's abandonment fears and control issues. The INFJ's ability to find fulfillment and meaning independent of the relationship threatens the narcissist's desire to be the center of their partner's universe. This often leads to increased attempts to control and manipulate the INFJ, creating a vicious cycle of emotional abuse and withdrawal. The paradox becomes even more pronounced as the relationship progresses. The very qualities that make INFJ attractive to narcissists, their depth, independence, and emotional intelligence, become sources of narcissistic injury. The narcissist may begin to feel threatened by the INFJ's insights, jealous of their other relationships, and resentful of their need for personal space. One reason why this recovery strategies for healing INFJs. Rebuilding after narcissistic abuse. The journey of healing for an INFJ who has survived a relationship with a narcissist requires a unique approach that honors their natural tendencies while establishing healthier patterns. This healing process isn't just about recovering from trauma, it's about rediscovering and reclaiming the gifts that make INFJ special without allowing these gifts to become vulnerabilities. Now, although no better words can become vulnerabilities, the first step in this healing journey involves understanding that sensitivity isn't a weakness to be overcome, but a strength to be protected. INFJ often emerge from narcissistic relationships believing their emotional depth is a liability. However, this sensitivity is actually their superpower. It just needs to be coupled with strong boundaries and discernment. Think of it like having a powerful searchlight. It's not about dimming the light, but rather about choosing carefully where to shine it. Establishing boundaries becomes particularly crucial for healing INFJ. This process can feel especially challenging because it often goes against their natural inclination to remain open and understanding. Learning to set and maintain boundaries isn't about becoming less compassionate. It's about directing that compassion in healthy ways, including toward themselves. This might mean learning to say no without explanation, stepping back from the role of emotional caretaker, and acknowledging that not every relationship needs to be deep and meaningful. Breaking the cycle. Comprehensive prevention strategies. Prevention strategies for INFJ need to go beyond simple red flag recognition to address the deeper patterns that make them vulnerable to narcissistic manipulation. This involves developing a new relationship with their own intuition and learning to trust their initial impressions, even when they conflict with their desire to see the best in others. A crucial aspect of prevention is understanding the difference between empathy and responsibility. INFJ often struggle with this distinction, feeling that their ability to understand someone's pain makes them responsible for healing it. Developing a healthy relationship with empathy means learning to acknowledge others' struggles without automatically assuming the role of savior or healer. It's about recognizing that understanding someone's pain doesn't create an obligation to fix it. Another vital prevention strategy involves maintaining strong connections with a support network. INFJs tend to become isolated in narcissistic relationships, often because the narcissist actively works to separate them from their support system. Making a conscious effort to maintain multiple deep, meaningful relationships helps prevent this isolation and provides reality checks when needed. Post-narcissistic growth. Transforming pain into wisdom. Perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of the INFJ healing journey is the potential for tremendous personal growth following narcissistic abuse. INFJ, with their natural inclination toward introspection and meaning-making, often find ways to transform their painful experiences into wisdom that benefits both themselves and others. This transformation often begins with a deep reassessment of their relationship patterns. Through this process, INFJ typically develop a more nuanced understanding of their own needs and boundaries. They learn to distinguish between genuine connection and manipulation, between true empathy and emotional exploitation. This newfound wisdom doesn't make them less compassionate. Rather, it makes their compassion more discerning and sustainable. Many INFJ discover that surviving narcissistic abuse actually strengthens their natural gifts of insight and empathy. The experience, though painful, often leads to a deeper understanding of human nature and a more sophisticated ability to navigate complex relationships. They develop what might be called wise empathy, the ability to understand and care deeply for others while maintaining healthy boundaries and self-protection. The art of communication, finding your voice after silence. One of the most significant challenges for INFJ recovering from narcissistic relationships is learning to communicate their needs and feelings effectively. INFJ often struggle with direct communication, preferring to hint at their needs or hope others will intuitively understand them. This tendency can be exacerbated by the experience of narcissistic abuse, where direct communication was often met with manipulation or rejection. Learning to speak up becomes a crucial part of the healing journey. This involves developing the confidence to express thoughts and feelings directly, even when they might create conflict or disappointment. It's about recognizing that clear communication is not a betrayal of their diplomatic nature, but rather a way to honor both themselves and their relationships. The process of finding one's voice often involves learning to trust in the validity of their own experiences and emotions. INFJ need to understand that their feelings and needs are just as important as those of others, a concept that often feels foreign after years of prioritizing others' needs above their own. Concluding insights. Embracing your INFJ nature while staying protected. The journey of an INFJ who has encountered narcissistic abuse is not about becoming less sensitive or more cynical. Instead, it's about learning to honor their unique gifts while protecting them from exploitation. The goal isn't to build impenetrable walls, but rather to create healthy boundaries that allow them to maintain their natural empathy and insight while staying safe from emotional predators. Remember that being an INFJ is a gift to the world. Your ability to understand others deeply, to see beyond surface-level behaviors, and to facilitate growth and healing is valuable and needed. The key is learning to share these gifts wisely, protecting your emotional energy while still maintaining your authentic desire to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Your journey forward isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming a stronger, wiser version of yourself. It's about learning to use your natural INFJ traits in ways that serve both yourself and others, creating boundaries that protect without isolating, and developing wisdom that allows you to share your gifts safely and sustainably. The path ahead may not be easy, but it's one that leads to deeper self-understanding, more authentic relationships, and a stronger sense of self. Your sensitivity, empathy, and desire to understand others deeply are not weaknesses to be overcome, but strengths to be protected and cherished. With the right boundaries and self-awareness, these qualities can help you create the meaningful connections you seek while staying safe from those who would exploit them.